Welcome to the SheBreathes Soul Stories Podcast. I am your host, Jen Gulbrand, and I believe that your story is sacred. This podcast holds space for the messy middle moments, the quiet triumphs, and the truths that you've been waiting to say out loud. It's not about perfection, it's about presence. So let's journey together, one breath, one story, one awakening at a time. I am so thrilled today to be in the virtual studio with Julie Brennan. Julie is the founding director of We Do Care and the owner of Joy with Julie. Welcome.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I'm honored to have you here as well. So, Julie, tell us a little bit about the work that you do first.
Okay, so I'm the founding director of We Do Care, Grief and Loss. We support young widows and children that lost a parent. It is super important to serve this population to me. And we can talk about that a little bit when we get to my background. But widows, especially young widows that are raising children, just aren't served in our country. So it's super important that our program happens and that We Do Care serves as many women and kids as we can. I was an elementary school teacher up until recently for over 20 years. And I have another program that I developed, which is called Joy with Julie, where I do intuitive action coaching and help people live a life of joy and optimism without living in fear.
Oh my gosh, you're speaking my words, girl. I love it. I love it. Well, this is perfect. It's perfect to have you here. I know you have a lot of deep insight to share with our listeners. So let's dive right in. What personal story would you like to share with us? I know it has a lot to do with the work that you're doing. So I think it's a good place to start.
Okay. So when I was 34 years old, 15 years ago, our tiny little family, it was my partner, John, and my 3-year-old son, Jace, and we were 3.5 months pregnant. We had the tragic loss. I lost my partner. He died very suddenly in a car accident. I was notified by the police. Everything that I thought my future was going to be instantly changed with that awful news. So John was unemployed for 14 months, and our finances, I had used a lot of our savings. And being 34, we had an appointment that week for life insurance, but we didn't have that already in place.
Wow.
Yeah. So I can just say that it was so many things that I had to figure out, which felt like on my own. There wasn't a place for a woman that was 34 to go to and turn that had just become a widow and was instantly a single mom. And then 6 months later, I was a single mom of 2 boys, not just our son, Jace. So I believe that God put the right people in my path, and I just kept meeting women that were in the same situation as me. So I kept meeting young widows, and the more I talked about it, the more it made sense that this was a line of work. This was a passion project. This is something I was supposed to do. We Do Care started with care packages because it helped me. Johnny passed away on a holiday. I like to call it the holiday of friendship and love, but he died on Valentine's Day. So just adding another layer, right, of the trauma and the hard. So the care packages came about because I couldn't avoid Valentine's Day for the rest of my life. So we made these gifts of love, and it really helped me to care about other people. We Do Care basically was born because it's enlisting people to care about grieving women and grieving children. And the idea of We Do Care is that we empower the woman to be a strong foundation of a family, and the children have a happy childhood because their mama is okay. And what I've learned in the last 15 years is really that the kids look to make sure and see that their mom's okay, and they're worried about that. And if mom is resilient and able to figure out all the things, the kids can have a happy childhood.
Indeed. Wow. That's amazing. I mean, I'm just taking it all in because that's a lot. What comes to mind to me is how, first of all, how courageous you are and how resilient you are. And this idea that so many of us that do this work, it's like we take our pain and we turn it into purpose, right? We take our experiences and how they've shaped us, how they've informed us, and we use that to serve and help others. And it's just, it brings us kind of full circle, right? In our ability to process the things that have occurred in our lives and why maybe they occurred, right?
Yeah, and I think you understand that um, when you go through something as life changing as losing your closest person, you have to figure out your new normal. You have to figure out your life. But there was this hole, like this gaping emptiness and hole in my heart, and I had to figure out a way how to fill that. Like
Yeah.
I had to figure out a way to not only take care of my kids and figure out our life and how I was going to support them, but also make meaning of the loss of his life, right?
Right.
And make meaning of our future and what it could be. Um, but one thing that I've learned, and I imagine you can definitely relate to, is when you help people through a shared experience, that's where the biggest healing comes, is when you find your true purpose and you help others.
It's so, I mean, that's what this whole program is about, right? Is we're so programmed and taught to hide our pain, to hide the messy stuff, to be okay. And we just stuff it down and we stuff it down and all that does is make us feel more alone, more disconnected, more disembodied, and right, and more wounded. And when we give ourselves, we're not when we're given permission, but when we give ourselves permission to open that up, to liberate ourselves, to share our pain, share our experiences, we not only heal ourselves, but we heal one another. And that's what this is all about, is allowing people this awareness that we are all, we're all in it together. We all suffer. We all have pain, different levels, of
Right.
course. Nothing can be compared, but the point of it is when, we're not meant to pull that in and to suffer in silence and to be alone in it. And when we share and when we do that in an open, authentic way, we create community and compassion and empathy and kindness and all the things that we all know the world needs more of. And so that's why I'm such a big
For sure.
proponent of this is, for us to come out of hiding and to connect in a more meaningful way with one another. Yeah, I love it.
And I appreciate that. That resonates with me a lot. So many times the really hard thing that we're going through, especially if it's something with mental health, with us, with our child, something our family's going through. I notice that the older our kids get, the less the moms talk, the less the parents talk about what's going on,
Right.
right?
That
And
is
then
so true.
we're in these little islands and we isolate because we think, well, nobody could possibly know what I'm going through.
Right.
But then once you speak and aren't afraid to tell, like the dirt, the muddy stuff, right? Then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what? Wait,
Yeah,
what? Like your kid's going through that too? Or you went through that? Like I would have never known that because I didn't know you then.
exactly.
And it is so important to be open and share. And I think sometimes people that are just like a generation above me, sometimes men and women are a little bit like, how come Julie's so vocal and how come she's so out there? Um, it just feels normal to me, but I'm okay with talking about grief and loss and mental health stuff. And
Yeah.
I understand that it's not a topic in our country that people are usually comfortable talking about.
Because we're not taught how to deal with grief. We're not taught how to support someone who's grieving. We say all the wrong things, right? I mean, you've been there, I've been there. It was God's will. That's my personal favorite. Or, it, well, all the things. We're
Yeah,
not taught how to support you, how to support people who are grieving. And to understand that grief doesn't go away. It doesn't like end at a certain time period. It doesn't have an expiration date. We just learn how to hold the capacity of it by moving the energy of it, right? And by all the things that you did and that we do to be well, to make sure that our children are well, to, to move forward, to create the new normal. That's all moving that energy and shifting the energy. It does not disappear ever.
And you know what? The last 9 years, I facilitated our adult support group. And part of what we do in our support group is teaching the women tips and tricks and strategies, things that you can do to feel better, right?
Right.
So it's ways of thinking, it's training your brain, right? I'm a super optimistic person. I guess in some ways I was born that way, but I was also trained by a mother that was an optimist, a dad that was a positive person, and
Yeah.
my upbringing was great. So it's interesting because the more you get out there and the more you meet people and hear about their experiences, you realize not everybody had that same wonderful
So true.
first beginning.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the Joy with Julie podcast that I do, I actually take my teacher training, um, and I interview guests, and then we share like stories, like snippets, but also we give takeaways so that the person that isn't like a genuine, super joyful person or isn't able to always flip the script, right? And find the good in something or how that's a learning lesson, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's like those takeaways so that people can learn something.
It's really important.
Yeah.
It really is. And there's always something to be grateful for. There's always something. The littlest things.
Yes, you get it. Gratitude is humongous, and that's completely related to your happiness and joy.
It's huge. And it's being able to pause and focus on what we have and not on the lack, not what we don't have, because that's just creating more lack. But all the simple things that we can look at, the sunrise or the way our child laughs or, the whatever. I mean, there's a zillion things, our warm cup of tea, whatever it is, to be more mindful
Right.
in the moment and appreciate that it just shifts everything in terms of how we feel and how we go about our day and how we
It
influence
certainly doesn't.
us.
I think people, when you're not in the daily practice of gratitude, I feel like they forget or don't know how much, like you just said,
Yeah,
like lack brings black, right? Gratitude brings abundance and brings the positive things. And when you're in a tough place, no matter what it is that you're going through, right? But what feels tough in that moment, sometimes it's hard to look ahead and know that you're going to get out of this. This is temporary, right?
absolutely.
And it can be hard to think of those positive things you can do to feel what you feel, right? Because we do need to feel what we feel to
Oh,
heal.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, yeah,
Feel it to feel it. Feel it to heal it. I'm sorry, feel it to heal it. Think it goes both
yeah.
ways, actually. So I love this. I love the work that you're doing for other people. What inspired you to start talking more open? Well, you said always felt open about this. So then maybe that's not a good question. How about this question? How does the act of telling these things and sharing your personal story contribute to your own sense of self and empowerment? Having
So
those things.
the more that I'm open and I talk about it, the more I realize I'm not alone. When I go to networking events, let's give that as an example, right? When I go to networking events, I'm in a room full of strangers that don't know me and don't know what I do.
Right.
So recently I shared with a woman, and I had no idea what she did for work and what her childhood was like, but she shared with me how, as a teenager, her father died and what happened because of what her mother went through, as well as the tough times she had in high school. And then the one person she remembered that put her on the right track. So she did end up going to college.
Yeah.
So the more that we share, right, our stories, even the being vulnerable, if you can do it, it leads to such good human connection and deep conversations.
Yes, instead of the fluffy, like, oh, isn't the weather nice? Which we're all tired of that stuff. Yeah, no, I agree with you. And you never know who you're going to run into and what's going to unfold by just sharing, just something about yourself. It always leads to connection. It always leads to more conscious connection, I guess is what I want to say. Which again,
It's funny though, Jen, because we get used to who we are, right?
yeah,
Like so I was the mom, the wife, um, the teacher for 25 years, right? And so as I have been working in the nonprofit, I've realized, oh, not everyone's going to trust me when it comes to certain things like building donors. But I'm so used to being trusted because it's like I'm a walking bartender. I'm that person that people tell me their intimate secrets within like minutes
In the
of
grocery
meeting
store.
them.
I know. I'm the same.
Anywhere, yeah. And I get like deep stuff, but
Yeah.
it's that I have an ability to connect with people and I have an intuition gift. Um, but it's just interesting because the more people share and the more they open up, you realize
Yeah.
even if it's not the same adversity that you felt, everybody has adversity and challenges and things that they've gotten through.
Everybody. And I talk to a lot of people who I invite, into this whole movement and into this, and to be a guest, and they're all like, well, I really haven't had, really terrible things happen to me. And then we start talking, and of course you have. We're
Right.
surrounded
Right.
by, ancestral trauma in our environment. Nobody's perfect. Everybody does their best, but family dynamics and the community, and how about the world around us right now? Like, we're all, our nervous systems are constantly absorbing energy that isn't necessarily in our best interest. And so we all suffer, we all have pain. And it isn't about comparing the depth of it. It's just, how are you holding that capacity for the things that you've dealt with? And how can we support you? Yeah, I love it. I mean, tell us more about the work that your nonprofit is doing and how people can get involved in that and in supporting you.
I would love to.
Yeah,
That's my favorite thing to talk about.
like
So,
that.
so we have a new space at the Queesit House in Easton.
Oh,
So
no,
we have two rooms now that are our own. We don't need to borrow space for our meetings anymore.
lovely.
Um, yeah, so we are able to offer more things. We have a women's self-defense class that we're going to offer in October.
Excellent.
Yeah, and we're going to be able to open that up to the community and to our members. Um, we were just given a partnership in a wonderful donation of financial literacy program for our children from the Grant Cardone Foundation. So, I mean, when I had the meeting with them, it was a 30-minute meeting virtually. They're in Florida, we're here in Mass, and the teacher and me was so thrilled because now we're going to be able to offer financial literacy so kids that are in this situation where they went from a two family income to one family income and they see everything in their life and finances and budget change. Now they are being going to be given power because they have this online university they're going to learn from. They get these videos that will teach them persuasive skills and sales skills and just different skill sets that if they wanted to be an entrepreneur or go into business. And it just gives them something that they can do, something they can learn. We're planning to add an after school program to be able to launch and do that so that it isn't just the kids doing the learning on their own, but we're going to help them learn those skill sets. Um, we are making partnerships every week with new community resources and other organizations that are doing things so that they can help us help our families more. Um, yeah, it's very exciting. We always need volunteers. We do a Gillette program where we run a concession stand for the events, and then that helps bring in revenue. We're looking for a rent sponsor just to kind of help us out with that. And we are just excited because, um, oh, I didn't mention to you, we had a 50% increase in membership in the last 3 months.
Amazing. Amazing.
Right. So now that I'm doing this full time, um, there's certain things that I've seen like, wow, when you give it your 100%, like what can change and what can happen. But more people are learning about us because there still isn't anything within an hour drive of our location to help women that were widowed young and children that lost a mom or a dad.
It's such important work. I mean,
Yeah.
I want to just um, express my gratitude to you for, taking your own experiences and turning it into something this beautiful and this important. It's really, I want more people to know about you and what you're doing. And I know how difficult it is to operate nonprofits, how to get generate awareness, how to bring in donorship, donors and support. So this is what we want more people to know about it, and for more, and there's lots of ways to get involved in a nonprofit. You don't have to always write a check. Like you said, you can donate your time, you can help raise awareness,
Right.
you can come to the events and tell more people about it. So I definitely encourage our listeners to do that. Tell me, what would you say? Because I mean, we could talk the whole time about what you're actually doing, but I know we're supposed to be talking about storytelling, but this is really a big part of it, because if you hadn't had the courage to come out and talk about these things, you may not have even found yourself in this place, right, doing this work. And I bet your sons are just so proud of you for what you've created. Yeah, I bet they're so.
One of them definitely gets it. The other one kind of gets it. Like my 18-year-old thinks I'm pretty cool. My 15-year-old
Well, no
isn't
15-year-old
convinced
thinks
of
we're
that.
cool.
But it's so funny, right? Um, yeah, I feel like a big part of telling my story is um, owning what you're capable of, owning what you can do. Like, I know a lot of the women in this situation when they're first widowed and they're trying to figure things out, right? They put one foot in front of the other and they don't think that they're highly capable. They don't know what they're going to do. Maybe their husband was in charge of the finances. Maybe he made the most money. Um, I want to say it's very much about your mindset and how you believe about yourself. Like I talk to the women about when they do get into a relationship or when they're thinking of that. Your children aren't baggage. You don't have baggage. Like this is a sad, tragic thing that happened, and it's part of, your experiences.
Right.
But you and your kids are amazing, and someday when you go and choose to have a relationship, that person's blessed and lucky. But it's very much a mentality and a mindset, right? Um,
It's like the victim mentality of, right? That
mhm.
sort of being put in that place of having no control over the things that happen to you. Well, we really don't have control over pretty much anything except what we what we choose, right? But it's a
Right, and I think we have so much control, right?
no, we have pretty much zero, except I always say we can control our behaviors, our actions, our responses to things. We really can't control really the rest of it. Um, but yeah, I think it's I don't know. I have so many things I want to say in my head right now, and we're running out of time to say them. But the point is,
I wanted, yeah,
go, yeah.
I wanted to just say that, I've learned a lot through this process, and um, when I get the opportunity to kind of stand and tell people like about what they should know about when someone's widowed young, when kids lose their dad, it takes 8 years at least for a widow to recover financially,
I believe that.
and I think that is a statistic that people just have no clue on,
Who?
right? When Yeah, like if you can imagine being a child that loses their dad, their best friend, the guy that's always there, and then all of a sudden he's not. And then their mom is grieving, and then they're sad and grieving. So it's such a disruption to the childhood. And it's why we need to support these women, because in supporting the women, it helps the kids have a happy childhood.
Of course, right? Because if you're not well, if you're not able to, how are you supposed to take care of your children? So especially the mental health and well-being resources, I think they're so important for the moms. Helping them feel supported, helping them learn how to love and support themselves throughout this process, giving them space, giving themselves grace, right? To grieve, to
Right.
be sad, to ask for help. What about that one, right? To ask for help
Hmm.
and then be able to receive it. Like those are really important. And when you're in
Very much.
space, it's I don't know, I think sometimes we want to hide from it all because it's just so overwhelming, you know?
Right.
So the
The
more,
amazing thing to watch within our support group is the family, like the camaraderie. They
yeah,
have a place to belong. The
yeah,
kids have said they no longer have a secret because they felt like they were the only one at their school that
r-
lost their dad.
yeah.
Yeah. So
So
it gives them a space where other kids are like them.
well, think about it. We need them. Those children need to feel empowered too, right? They need to feel that sovereignty, that ability to, to be resilient, to learn how to be resilient, to learn how to move through something like this. So having a sense of community for them is just as important as it is for the mothers.
Right. And I've enjoyed building our children's program.
Oh,
We play games, do art, and when the kids come together, they just get to have fun.
yeah.
The point of the kids program is for them to relate and connect with others that
Right.
also have loss, but to come and make sure that they have fun so they want to come back. And then that allows their mother to go and show up for her support group.
Exactly. I love it. I mean,
Yeah.
thank you. Just thank you for what you're doing. I'm so grateful to have an opportunity to put some light on this and to share what you're doing. And I'm also very proud of you for everything you've been through and how you've taken that and turned it into something so beautiful and so giving and so important. I know I keep saying the same thing, but I really feel that genuinely. What would you say to some woman who's listening here today who is going through something very similar? How would you, I don't know, what words of love and advice and support would you give to her?
So I put so much pressure on myself to be the perfect mom when my kids were tiny. I felt like since their dad was taken away from them and they didn't have the same happy childhood opportunity as me with two parents, that I put like literally so much weight on me and I worried, right? Like, how was Jace going to be normal when he lost his best friend?
Yeah.
I looked at my son when he was 17 and he was driving and he was successful and amazing and knew what he wanted to do as an electrician. And I just said, I wish I could have worried less. I wish I could have trusted the process more and that you would have been okay and put less pressure on me. So I think it's really important for women um, to give themselves grace and give themselves time for themselves so that they actually can parent better. So if you're going through something tough and you think all of your time and energy has to be devoted to your children, remember to do something even 10 minutes or an hour a day that brings you joy. Remember to do the exercising and show up for yourself and not just all your kids' activities. But really, like, give yourself, like, for me, it's being near the ocean, hopping in my pool, things in nature, and being with other women or positive people, that connection. But I have to like vary what it is that I do that fills my own cup.
Oh, absolutely. And to not feel like you, I mean, I think the natural tendency would be to feel like you have to make up for this person who's now absent. And that's really, you can't begin to do that. You just have to be there and be the best person you can be. And in order to do that, you have to be taking care of yourself, loving yourself, right? So,
Definitely.
yeah, very beautiful. Very, very wise words. And I hope everyone who's listening today takes them to heart. How can people get in touch with you to connect with your services and or to get involved in your nonprofit?
So our website is wedocare.org, and the information is there to contact us. But they can email me, they can give me a call. My information is definitely out there, pretty easily to find. But wedocare.org. If they want to hear more of the backstory, on our website is Julie's story, and there's also a resource for the people that we could serve for anyone that hears about this and knows someone that we might be able to help.
Beautiful. Julie, thank you so much
Yeah.
for everything you're putting out into the world and for being here with me today. It's really been an honor. And I think we're going to just have to have another podcast soon and talk more because we always run out of time.
I
But I appreciate you so
Yeah,
much.
no, I appreciate the space. It's amazing to be able to share with people what we go through, right?
So it's how we heal ourselves and one another for sure. So to our listeners, if you have a soul story that's been waiting to be told, and then this is your time, this is your sign. SheBreathes Soul Stories is a space for real women and real truth and the kind of storytelling that sets us all free. So if you're interested and you want to be involved in any way, send me a message or reach out to me to become a guest on the podcast. I'd be honored to hold space for you, for your story, for your voice. Thank you again, Julie, for being with us.
You're welcome. Thank you. Take care.
Until next time.